Did you know that the way you start your morning could be quietly increasing your stroke risk by 300%? If you're over 60, what you do in those first few hours after waking up might be setting you up for one of the most devastating health emergencies imaginable. And the scariest part, most seniors have no idea they're doing it. I'm about to reveal 5 seemingly innocent morning habits that research shows can triple your stroke risk. Some of these will shock you because they're things millions of people do every single day, thinking they're perfectly harmless or even healthy. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which habits to avoid and what to do instead to protect your brain and potentially save your life. Let's start with the most dangerous morning habit that could be setting you up for disaster. Skipping breakfast might seem like a simple way to cut calories or save time, but for seniors, it's like playing Russian roulette with your cardiovascular system. When you wake up after sleeping for 7 to 8 hours, your body has been fasting all night. Your blood sugar levels are naturally low, and your metabolism is just starting to wake up. Here's what happens when seniors skip breakfast. Your blood becomes thicker and stickier because you're dehydrated from not drinking fluids overnight. When you don't eat breakfast, this thick blood has to work harder to flow through your arteries and veins. For older adults whose blood vessels are already less flexible than younger people, this creates a perfect storm for clot formation. Research from Harvard Medical School followed over 40,000 men for 16 years and found that those who regularly skipped breakfast had a 27% higher risk of heart attack and stroke. But here's the kicker: when they looked specifically at men over 65, that risk jumped dramatically higher. The combination of age-related changes in blood vessel flexibility and the stress of prolonged fasting creates a dangerous situation. Your brain depends on steady glucose levels to function properly. When you skip breakfast, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to maintain blood sugar levels. These hormones cause your blood pressure to spike and increase inflammation throughout your body, including in the delicate blood vessels that feed your brain. The second habit that's tripling stroke risk is something that might surprise you because it seems so refreshing and healthy. Taking a very hot shower first thing in the morning can be incredibly dangerous for seniors. When you step into water that's above 104 degrees Fahrenheit, your body goes through dramatic physiological changes that can trigger a stroke. Hot water causes your blood vessels to dilate rapidly, which might sound like a good thing. But for seniors, it creates a cascade of problems. Your blood pressure drops suddenly, forcing your heart to work harder to maintain circulation to vital organs like your brain. At the same time, the heat causes you to sweat and lose fluids, making your blood more concentrated and prone to clotting. The temperature shock also triggers the release of stress hormones, which cause your blood pressure to fluctuate wildly. 1 minute it's dropping from the heat, the next it's spiking from the stress response. This roller coaster effect is particularly dangerous for seniors whose cardiovascular systems are already working harder to maintain proper circulation. Japanese researchers have documented numerous cases of seniors having strokes and heart attacks in hot baths and showers. They call it thermal shock syndrome, and it's responsible for thousands of deaths annually. The risk is highest in the morning when your body is still adjusting from sleep and your blood pressure naturally tends to be more variable. The third morning habit that's silently increasing stroke risk is jumping out of bed too quickly. This might seem ridiculous, but orthostatic hypotension, the medical term for the dizziness you feel when standing up too fast, becomes much more dangerous as we age. When you've been lying down for hours, your cardiovascular system is in a relaxed state, and your blood pressure is naturally lower. In younger people, the body quickly adjusts when you stand up, but seniors often experience a delay in this compensation mechanism. When you jump out of bed, blood pools in your legs due to gravity, temporarily reducing the amount of blood flowing to your brain. For a few crucial seconds, your brain isn't getting enough oxygen-rich blood, creating a dangerous situation. This morning blood pressure instability is compounded by the fact that blood pressure naturally surges in the early morning hours due to hormonal changes. Your body releases higher levels of cortisol and norepinephrine upon waking, which increase heart rate and blood pressure. When you add the stress of rapid position changes, you create a perfect storm for stroke. Clinical studies show that strokes are 40% more likely to occur in the morning hours between 6 and noon, with the highest risk being in the first 3 hours after waking. Much of this increased risk comes from the combination of natural morning blood pressure surges and sudden movements that further destabilize circulation. The fourth dangerous habit is drinking multiple cups of coffee within the first hour of waking. Now, I'm not saying coffee is bad, but the way most seniors consume it in the morning can be lethal. When you wake up, your cortisol levels are naturally at their peak and your cardiovascular system is already in a heightened state of alertness. Adding large amounts of caffeine to this situation is like throwing gasoline on a fire. Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors in your brain, which normally help regulate blood pressure and heart rate. For seniors whose bodies metabolize caffeine more slowly than younger adults, this effect lasts much longer and is much more intense. 2 or more cups of coffee consumed quickly can cause blood pressure to spike by 20 to 30 points in seniors. This dramatic increase in pressure can cause existing plaques in blood vessels to rupture or shift, triggering the cascade of events that leads to stroke. The dehydrating effect of caffeine also makes blood more viscous and prone to clotting. Research from the American Heart Association found that seniors who consumed more than 4 cups of coffee in the morning had triple the stroke risk of those who limited their intake to 1 cup or less. The key factor wasn't just the total amount of caffeine, but how quickly it was consumed and at what time of day. The fifth and perhaps most shocking morning habit that triples stroke risk is taking your blood pressure medication with a large glass of water immediately upon waking. Wait, this sounds completely backwards, right? Taking prescribed medication should be protective, not dangerous, but timing is everything when it comes to blood pressure medications in seniors. Many seniors take their blood pressure pills first thing in the morning with a big glass of water because that's what they've been told to do. However, research shows this practice can create a dangerous situation called morning medication hypotension. Your blood pressure is naturally variable in the morning due to hormonal changes and the transition from sleep to wakefulness. When you take blood pressure medication during this already unstable period, especially with a large volume of water, you can cause your blood pressure to drop too low too quickly. This sudden hypotension reduces blood flow to the brain just when it needs steady circulation the most. The large volume of water compounds the problem by further diluting your blood and reducing its ability to carry oxygen efficiently. Studies from the European Society of Cardiology found that seniors who took their blood pressure medications within 30 minutes of waking had a significantly higher risk of morning strokes compared to those who waited at least 1 hour after waking. The optimal timing appears to be taking medication with breakfast or even splitting the dose between morning and evening. So what should you do instead to protect yourself? First, never skip breakfast, but don't eat a huge heavy meal either. Choose something balanced with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. Greek yogurt with berries and nuts or oatmeal with a tablespoon of almond butter are excellent choices that stabilize blood sugar without overwhelming your system. For showering, keep the water temperature below 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which should feel comfortably warm but not hot. Gradually adjust the temperature rather than jumping into hot water, and consider showering in the evening instead of the morning when your cardiovascular system is more stable. When getting out of bed, take your time. Sit on the edge of the bed for 30 to 60 seconds before standing. This simple habit allows your circulatory system to adjust gradually and can prevent dangerous blood pressure fluctuations. Keep a glass of water by your bedside and drink it slowly upon waking to help with rehydration. Limit coffee to 1 cup in the morning and drink it with food rather than on an empty stomach. If you need more caffeine, wait at least 2 hours before having another cup, giving your body time to process the first dose. Consider switching to green tea, which provides caffeine with less dramatic cardiovascular effects. Finally, work with your doctor to optimize the timing of your blood pressure medication. Many physicians now recommend taking these medications in the evening rather than the morning, as this provides better 24-hour blood pressure control and reduces morning stroke risk. The key takeaway here is that small changes in your morning routine can have massive impacts on your stroke risk. These aren't complicated medical interventions or expensive treatments. They're simple adjustments that anyone can make starting tomorrow morning. Your brain and your family will thank you for taking these precautions seriously. If you found this information valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I regularly share life-saving health information that most doctors don't have time to explain in detail. Your morning routine could literally be the difference between a healthy day and a medical emergency.